Hello, everyone. We are live and ready to go here. Super excited to be with you all. And we haven't done one of these in a bit. So I'm excited to be back here on Facebook talking to everybody. I think we're also streaming to YouTube. So if you're over on YouTube, hello. And yeah, super excited to get started here. What we're going to talk about today is how to onboard the homeowner so that you can leverage the conversation with the insurance company. So we have quite a few people that I've heard from out in the industry that have mentioned to me that it's actually worse than it was right after COVID, as far as trying to get a hold of an adjuster, trying to get an answer on a supplement. It's been a little while, the past probably 8 to 12 months. So I would love to hear from you guys. Again, it's been a little while since I've done one of these. So I'd love to hear in the chat some of the challenges or struggles that you're dealing with the insurance company right now, because I can speak to some of those things today as we talk about the onboarding conversation with the homeowner. So again, hello to you if you're over on Facebook or YouTube. Good to see you today. And this will also have a little cameo by Mr. Anderson. He's, spring has sprung and the kitties are really getting into their groove here with their energy and they're wanting to be on camera. Anyhow, so let me know in the comments what challenges you're having and I'll monitor those over the next couple of days so I can get some answers to your questions if you just need to vent, that's okay. You can do that here too. So today we're going to be talking about how to onboard the homeowner properly, in that I think a lot of the time that it takes to get a hold of the adjuster, a lot of the conversations that we allow the adjuster to, put us into a gray area instead of operating on facts. They want to operate on opinion. A lot of that gets not shut down, but can be proactively preempted by simply informing the homeowner on the insurance process. So that's what we're here to talk about today. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. A couple of things I need you to know, whether you've seen me before or if this is your first time watching. My name is Alena Wilson from Estimate Mastery. I've been in the industry since about 2011. I came from training insurance adjusters, and so that was where I cut my teeth on Xactimate, was training adjusters for hurricane, wind, tornado, and catastrophic events. They would come to a 3-day Xactimate training, 2-day adjuster 101, and then we turn them loose to those catastrophic storms. So that is where I cut my teeth. That's where I started in the industry. And I think it's important to mention that because I know what the insurance company, how their mode of operandum is in training adjusters to do this work. And I've seen the good and bad sides of it. So whenever I started my company about 12 years ago, I spotted that a lot of people train adjusters, not many people train contractors. So if you're an adjuster that's here, that's fine. You might pick up a few tips and tricks, but basically the contractor's needs are: 1, are you profitable on your job? 2, how do I cut down on the time it takes to get paid? That's pretty much it. Profitability and the time that gets paid is all that really matters to a contractor. You don't care about sketching spiral staircases and putting, a widow's peak walk on a house. You want to get paid in less time than ever before. So that's really what where my training is different than any other Xactimate or supplement training out there. Those are my 2 goals for you: maximize profitability and get paid in as short a time as possible. So that brings us full circle to today and why we want to talk about onboarding the homeowner. So let me just look here. We got Kimberly. Hello. Good to see you. Ivy, I see you there as well. Yep. Oh, that's a great question, Ivy. I'd love to cover that in just a second. So I don't really have a presentation. This is going to be more of a conversation today. In that, a couple of things I'm going to give you just quickly to start with the homeowner onboarding is I think that a lot of salespeople, a lot of people that come in and sell the job don't want to put any friction on that first touch. And on, maybe you knock doors, maybe you get referrals, whatever your mode of operandum is. We want to treat the homeowner with kid gloves because it seems like, oh, I'm going to blow the sale, yada, yada. Instead of thinking, hey, how can I inform them, become their advocate in this very complicated process now here in 2025. It's a lot more complicated than it needs to be, in my opinion, on the insurance side of things. How can we be their advocate and show them that I am a contractor that is a restoration professional instead of two trucks in a truck, fly by night, yada, yada. That's really how this whole conversation could go down as a salesperson. So this is going to be more of a 30,000-foot view of some of the tactics that we're seeing that are working well. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments. If I don't see them till after the live is over, don't worry, we'll get back to you. We like to answer each and every question or comment that's in our chat here on Facebook, also over on YouTube as well with this video. So first things first, just, explaining to the homeowner, if you're a general contractor, what that means. I think there's a lot of licensure in a lot of states. Texas, of course, doesn't have licensure, but the more that you put your GC license, position yourself as the GC, which means you're the umbrella over the subcontractors, the homeowner needs to understand what that concept means. Getting a roof paid by insurance is not simple as going and buying a TV at Best Buy. They don't understand that you need overhead and profit paid. You're going to coordinate the job, make sure no one pees in their bushes. You're going to make sure that you install the materials according to manufacturer's specifications, while also adhering to OSHA requirements in case the OSHA drive-by happens. You're going to make sure that you're getting the insurance to pay everything that they should, and at the end of the day, hopefully getting your overhead and profit covered. So that's the first thing I would say is that's a short 5-minute conversation. This is Best Buy. This is insurance work. Retail is way different than the insurance process. And, there's a lot of complication. It's not showing up. Oh, you have a pink roof. Now you want a brown roof. Cool, homeowner. Sign that check. We're good. It's, I got to sell you the job. I got to submit an estimate to the insurance company. I have to collect a deductible. I've got to have my office people follow up on this estimate. I have to go through the delay, deny, defend. I have to have my AR is out for days. I then need to get the job installed and do a post-repair supplement for anything that was discovered while we do the job. And then finally, I might get depreciation release, at the very end of the process. So if not that you need to inform the homeowner on the whole process, but remember in your mind, it's not show up, I have a pink roof, now I want a brown roof. You have a long, there's a lot of touch points compared to a retail job. And the best that you can train your people to impart that to the homeowner, the better off you're going to be. So to look at Ivy's question here, how do we prevent the carrier from interfering with your services? Onboarding seems to be useless when they speak to an adjuster or agent about our estimate and services in progress, and the cost is more than the insurance company wants to pay. Is that correct, Ivy? You might correct me there if I got that wrong. But I think what I'm reading is that once the homeowner submits your estimate, then they feel like they have to deal with the pushback of why is your contractor so expensive? Go get 3 bids. I need you to go talk to 3 other contractors or 2, whatever, get the 3 bids scenario too, is a common thing that we hear. So again, being an advocate for the homeowner also means that you need to inform the homeowner. Here's how it's going to go. Tom, I'm going to be real with you. When we deal with insurance, they're in business too. I'm a restoration professional, so my estimate includes everything required and necessary to bring you back to whole on your house. What's going to happen, Tom, though? We're going to submit this estimate together to the insurance company. And when we do that, you're going to get a phone call from the adjuster, probably the next 24 or 48 hours. It's going to go, hey, Tom, I just received your contractor's estimate. It's $15,000 over what we're willing to pay. We're not paying that. And here's what you're going to say, Tom. You're going to say X, Y, and Z. So we do need to come up with a plan with how Tom responds to that. But the more you prep the homeowner, here's what's going to happen. And guess what's going to happen next? They're going to deny the overhead and profit. But don't worry, we have a plan, Tom. So that's having a plan. But if you set that homeowner up to fall down with no repercussions on how to reply when an adjuster or an agent says that to them, you've just put them in the valley. Instead of putting them on the mountaintop, you set them up for being in the valley. We want them on the peak of the mountaintop, feeling like they can advocate for themselves and having all of their information needed to, combat the delay, deny, defend. So a couple things that I'm going to suggest here. again, I used to be a licensed adjuster. I've come from the adjusting world, and I know there's a lot of talk of unlicensed practice of public adjusting flying around right now. Comes out of Lawn Smith being shut down in Texas. One of the largest roofing companies in Texas was shut down. I believe it was Lawn Smith, over what's called UPPA laws. So what does that mean? Well, one is eating deductibles. That's a whole other conversation. We're not going there today. But the interpretation or representation of policy without a license as an adjuster is illegal in all states under UPPA laws. They differ from state to state. Not really. They're there. They're real. You need to take them seriously. Okay, so follow me on this. You as a contractor are going into a contract with the homeowner who has paid for a policy. Now, a policy is a product that is purchased through the payment of a premium. Okay, so homeowner holds the policy with the insurance company. You now have now the homeowner now has a contract with you. The homeowner is the intermediary. You're a third party to the premium. You're a third party to the policy. You're a third party to the contract with the insurance company between the homeowner, right? So in light of that, because you're the one that is going to help the insured be indemnified back to the state before the state they endured before the loss, indemnified back to the state before it's enjoyed. There's some language there that's not clicking for me, but you need to get them back to the same state as they were before the loss. In doing that, as a restoration professional, you need to see what their policy says that is going to be paid out. Okay. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm no longer licensed adjuster. Okay. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, run it past a lawyer, talk to, a PA if you need to on this. But what I'm advocating for, they paid for a product. We need to know what product they've purchased. Is it an inferior product that has no code coverage? Is it something that there's an exclusion of a named storm like Hurricane Helene that they've baked into the policy? So we're advocating that the homeowner pull out their policy and you as the contractor and the homeowner read through it. Alena, that's UPPA. What are you talking about? No, I'm looking at a product and seeing what the product they paid for provides, what coverage. Okay, I am not interpreting. I am not representing that product. I am reading black and white words printed on a page. Okay. AOC, Kimberly, then you become the claimant at that point. The AOC and AOB. So AOB is assignment of claim, meaning that the homeowner signs the claim over to you, and you now become the beneficiary of that claim. If you have a watertight AOC, I'm not sure where you are, Kimberly. Then good on you. That's something that you can use. I would love to hear if you're having any pushback using the AOC. I actually haven't had a contractor in a while that I've been able to talk to if that's been effective. In the past, there's some holes that have been shot through it, but that's because the AOC wasn't written correctly. AOB, assignment of benefits, is similar. Yeah, Kimberly, I'd be interested to hear if you're having success with that. AOB is assignment of benefits. And that is basically they need to write the check into the contractor's name. That is unfortunately not holding as much weight as it used to. And for right now, insurance companies just ignore the AOB, and there's not really a way to hold their feet to the fire, as of what I know. Now, I'm not well versed in AOBs and AOCs, so you can ask me any questions that you have, and I can find someone that, if I don't know the answer, I'll find a better resource for you. But exactly, Ivy. That's what we found too. AOBs have really fallen off in the last 5 years, in my opinion, from what I've been hearing from people trying to use some boots on the ground. So lovely conversation, by the way, guys. Thank you, Ivy and Kimberly, for playing along today. So all of that to say, 2 things you should not do with policy: interpret or represent. I'm here to read words on a page, and you're going to look for things. You just pull up your own policy if you're curious, and just take a look. They're all pretty much organized the same. They're based off of ISO or this other type of policy, depending on what state you're in. But you should usually have, the information of what's insured, so city, state, all that address, and then what policy they've purchased, all of that. And then you don't need to go really into the meat and potatoes. I have found some things that they're baking into like page 18 addendum 2, which hasn't been great, but you might mostly want to pay attention to, is the property insured? That's a good one to know. Is this the right address? And then in the exclusions and the deck page are probably the first two places you really want to orient yourself and taking a look. And then just educating yourself on what do these different things mean. Again, we are reading information about a product that was purchased that provides a service. The service is insurance. I am not interpreting. I am not representing that product in any way. I need to know who's going to pay for what. If you have an exclusion that says no soft metals, homeowner, you're going to have to pay for the soft metals out of pocket. This is what you purchased. This is your product that you've purchased. Okay. Again, ask a lawyer in your state. You might ask a public adjuster about this, but it seems like the more that we become the advocate for the insured, we are helping them discover who's going to pay for what from the product that they purchased from the insurance company. And then that's going to inform the conversation whenever they get that call, like I think it was Ivy was saying, hey, your contractor's charging $15,000 more than the estimate I wrote. What the heck is going on? And they go, well, I just read through my policy and it says, there's nothing in here that doesn't say that you won't pay for this estimate. Can you explain to me? You can start to inform the homeowner and have those conversations. I would love it if the homeowner would have you kind of linked into that conversation if possible, a three-way call or whatever, but there isn't really an ideal world. A lot of times we want to be CC'd on the emails so that we can see the emails going back and forth and we can help step in as an advocate. Again, we don't discuss policy with the adjuster. We contractors don't discuss policy, but the person who owns the policy, did you know that insureds, homeowners, they own the claim. The person who makes the claim owns the claim. If that goes to court, whoever owns the claim is what? In charge, right? We like to think that the insurance companies, the adjusters are in charge. Now, the policy does dictate what product they purchase. Don't get me wrong, all day long. But if they start using language like, we don't pay for that, it's like, well, can you point to me where that says that you won't pay for that? And the insured can say those kinds of things. The contractor can't. But it goes back to, we operate on fact, not opinion. So there's no soft metal exclusion. They say, you know what, we don't pay for soft metals that aren't damaged by hail. Okay, great. But due to consequential damages, when the roof was hit with the hail, I now have to pull out the shingles, which you're paying for, the removal and replacement of shingles. When I pull up that shingle, see this flashing right here, this soft metal? It's nailed through the shingle to the bed. When I pull out that nail, that flashing is now damaged. Via IRC code, I have to replace any damaged, rusted, yada, yada, per IRC code, flashing. This is a consequential damage. I agree, it wasn't damaged by the hail directly. You're right. But due to consequential damages, we have to get the flashing paid. And that goes back to also how you're documenting your estimate and what you're including when you write your estimate. I'm not going to get into that this afternoon, but yeah, it's all about how you present and write the estimate as well. Okay, Kimberly, I'm glad AOC has worked well in Oklahoma. That's awesome. Yeah, it's a matter of explaining it to them. It's almost like a sales conversation. If you've ever done any kind of selling of anything, and a lot of estimators really haven't been down that world, but you can study some of the sales gurus and use some of their tactics. How did you arrive at that? What made you say no? Oh, you want documentation on that? Well, can you provide me with documentation about how, you rejecting my AOC or whatever that is that they're rejecting? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Ivy, you tell folks that, sorry, I missed when you said what I was talking about at that point, but it feels like the dweller doesn't know what they are and are very afraid of the carriers. That's where you really need to reframe. That's part of the sales conversation. So whoever's doing your selling, Ivy, they need to reframe the customer that they own the claim and that you're their advocate and you're going to help them be indemnified back to the condition before the loss. There, the plane landed. That was the verbiage I wanted. They need to be indemnified back to the condition before the loss. They didn't have reinstalled damaged flashings before the loss. They need to be indemnified back to the condition before the loss. And there's a way that has been said, to the condition they enjoyed before the loss, not a diminished condition. If they go to sell that home and the home inspector does a thorough home inspection and finds, reused this, improperly installed that, the homeowner is going to have to come out of pocket to fix those things because the insurance company didn't pay for what they should. There's ways to frame this that the homeowner can understand why it's meaningful to install the required and necessary items by a licensed contractor, if you have licensure in your state, yada, yada, yada. So yeah, absolutely. The replay will be available as soon as I end the live stream. This link is shareable for up to 30 days. Facebook is doing this odd thing where they're taking them down after 30 days. I'm not sure if that's applicable over to YouTube, but yeah, we have a weird 30-day thing right now. So, yeah, Lester, can you clarify what you're looking for? You can't make it. Have repairs. Can you? Yeah, Lester, clarify what you would like me to email to you. If it's a copy of this replay, that's fine. Just say replay, please, and we'll get that over to you. Other than that, that's pretty much all that I have as far as just kind of an opening to the conversation on onboarding the homeowner. Usually we get a lot of questions after this. So of course, put your question down below. If you're seeing this later on, I'll be here and my admin will be here to answer your questions. If you're at all interested in learning more about what we do here at Estimate Mastery, and just kind of these conversations, this is exactly what we do. We take you from point of sale. I don't help you with sales of roofs or jobs at all, but once the job is sold, we help onboarding conversations. We help you learn how to write the estimate correctly and Xactimate, including all the right documentation. We help you submit that to the insurance company, and we help you get it paid. We have a whole online training, coaching, and community where we do that. If you're ever interested in seeing if it's something that you'd want to be a part of, where we can help you from tip to tail with your insurance process, just go ahead and go to this survey. It's a quick survey that'll take you to book a call. So survey, then book a call. We vet everybody that comes into our group. We treat people like family who are members here at Estimate Mastery. And so we want to make sure that we are a good fit for you. So if you're at all interested, feel free to fill out that form. Otherwise, Ivy, Lester, Kimberly, Roofing Plus Construction, everyone who was here with me this evening, have a great time. Yep, Vicky, it'll be available right after I end this stream. It'll then recycle and you can see it all over again. And then y'all, I'll be going live every Tuesday for the month of April. I'm actually going to be doing some estimate walkthroughs, meaning I'm going to take the original statement of loss, show you what we write it up here at Estimate Mastery, and show you why we added the items that we did. So I'm going to do some estimate reviews here, and I'm super excited to do that. So this time, same time next Tuesday, all through the month of April, I will be here in this chair at 4:30 p.m. Central, helping or walking you through that estimate review process and teaching you a few things, hopefully. And appreciate you guys. Yeah, thanks, Josh. Thanks, Susan. Appreciate you being here. And I'll catch you next Tuesday for estimate reviews. Take care.